You can go from a $300 a month net rental to $1,500 a month. But who wouldn't want to go from $300 a month to $1,500 a month? It's literally a no-brainer. I'm going to show you how to make 5 times the income on a property you already own, long-term rental, a second home, whatever it is, and actually make it work for you rather than you paying for a house that's not making you money. Buying a house right now feels borderline insane. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. If it says otherwise, they're full of it. It feels like planning a vacation during a hurricane. And legit, there it is, uncertainty everywhere. What I had been doing jobs, what's going to do jobs, the political climate, the terrorists. It's hard to know what side it's up. And you hear it all the time, right? Maybe just wait a little bit. Let's see what happens when things calm down. But the crazy part is, usually while you're waiting, that is the opportunity. And to be honest, all these political levers that are being pulled right now, that is trading volatility. There's volatility, there's also opportunity. That opportunity does come with its own inherent risks, but some risks aren't so risky. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. But people still need places to go, gather, rest, hang out, kind of blow off some steam. And smart real estate, having to stop working. It's definitely shifted. And who are the people that are actually still winning in these seasons? It's the people that can see the shifts and know how to react to it. And what do? They build into it. Same house, same street, just a smarter strategy. Short-term rentals aren't just more money per night. I mean, they are, but there's more to it. They really give you a little bit more control and use of the property as an owner. One thing that's cool is if it's a great house on the lake to block off weekends for your own personal use. And if you're kind of curious about not using it for that 4th of July weekend and you find out, oh, I can make $3,500 for this weekend if I just allow it to be rented, you start to see the other side of that benefit when you're not using it for your own personal gain. Again, it's about balancing, but in some crazy way, you get the best of both worlds as long as you own it. You get to choose when you use it. Making use something long-term just can't, and that's tax power. Yes, you still get tax benefits for doing long-term rentals, but you can pretty much double or triple that when you're doing short-term rentals because it's a different type of asset. But one of the biggest benefits is cost segregation study. We used cost seg on one of the properties, and we got just over a $25,000 write-off on that year. Now, that doesn't mean I got $25,000 like give it to me, but it lowered my liability by $25,000. And what that's basically saying is, let's say you make $75,000 a year and we take $25,000 off of that. That leaves $50,000. So it lowered your taxable income to $50,000. Let's assume you got an average tax bracket of 25%. So this cost seg ended up saving us an additional $6,250 on our taxes that we would have had to pay in otherwise. So let's look at it a little different. If you make $75,000, you're getting a $6,250 write-off in conjunction with all your other deductions, then you're actually lowering your effective tax rate of 25%, potentially down to 16%. 16% is a lot more palatable for people to enjoy. And you can save these thousands of dollars in taxes every year from now on. It ends up, and if every time you add a property to your portfolio, you're saving thousands of dollars per year, guess what? At some point, the effective tax rate, it's going to be lower than 16%. You might be down to 5%. And then you start to feel pretty awful because you're like, I'm saving money for me and my family. And now it will use these savings for family vacations and other things and college funds. And that's the stuff that really starts to matter, right? All you want to do is go with use our money to continue to build our families. The whole reason behind the motivation of earning money is to use it for what you want. But if every time you earn $1, you go and get to keep 75% of it, kind of feel taken advantage of. But right now, there are tax codes that allow you to take some of that money back. You earn it, you deserve it, they're saying you do. It's just not obviously seen, and you need to be in the room that makes it honest. This isn't just smart accounting. That's money staying in your family, and you deserve it. Okay, I got a story. A buddy of mine has 2 cabins up. Pretty perfect STR spot. Right there on a nice size lake. You can have a good time. They love getting up there once a month. But after that, it's just kind of dead. It's just this house that's not collecting money. It's just costing them. For 2 years now, he's saying, oh, I should have rented this out. I should probably talk to my buddy Matt and see about getting this thing going. And coincidentally, I saw him this last weekend. And he said, I've been meaning to talk to you, and here's how the story played. Of course, since he's telling me this, I'm going, I wish you would have called me. I would love to help you because you're leading with a lot of money. And he goes, I know. I've been meaning to. I should just, I was like, what's your mortgage on the 2 properties? He said, $1,800. And I was like, okay. $2,000 roughly. At $2,000 times 12 months a year, okay, we're at $24,000, call it 25. He's been doing this for 2 years. He's at $50,000 of expense minimum, not including utilities, right? And he's like, hey, what do you think it could make? I was like, I know you don't have your computer in front of you, but I said, without even thinking about it, that's gonna make 40 grand a year. He goes, oh, I was like, yeah, you could have had this paid for making you money this entire time and continue to reinvest those earnings into better times and other vacations and better tax write-offs. And he's like, there's so many things you could have been doing. And I'm not so sure this would do 80,000. He goes, you're kidding me. I go, absolutely not. This is what we do. We got to get you moving. He goes, all right, I got to get moving on this. Like, can I meet up with you next week? I said, absolutely. Let's just do quick math. If $50,000 was earnable for each of those years, that's 100 grand in missed bookings. What's my confidence level? 99.9% on it. And after not even mentioning the tax savings, which is probably another $10,000 to $30,000 that he could read. What else? I don't know exactly what his income was, but more than likely he would have saved another $5,000 to $10,000 $5,000 in dollars per year. So let's just call it 5 grand. Some of the 10 grand of money you spent that it didn't have to spend for taxes. Meanwhile, our other clients and friends that have similar properties, it's automated. They're making money and they still can book it for the weekends if they really want it. And for him, I was just trying to prove a simple point. Waiting to the safe, it's extremely expensive. And I get it. Some of you guys are property. And now, of course, there's the talk and the wondering and the ideas. And then you sometimes get overwhelmed that, oh my God, how do I actually put this in place? Or make it simple and actually manageable. I get this project due, work is doing this. How do I actually put it all together? How do you make the switch? Well, here's the exact blueprint. Step 1, know the local laws. Call the city, ask the Planning Commission Board, check out everything you can online, and also get it in writing, even in email, from either the city, the county, or the township. Sometimes all of the above. You need to understand the permitting rules, and if there's anything coming down the pike that you need to be aware of. If it's looking feasible or a risk, at least that you know you can take on without any headache. Go to step 2, evaluate the property. Question 1, is it near attractions that cause demand to come to you? If so, great, that's a yes, move on. Question 2, if it's not near those, can you make the property itself a demand driver? What that means is, can it be so dang awesome on its own that it's actually to call people to come to it? And yes, there are so many properties and examples of that. There's more of those popping up all the time. Trust me. And really, that's how we built the bulk of our portfolio. We created the properties that people wanted to exist where they did. Question 3, do you feel like you can actually get it cleaned, turn over in a good amount of time? Can you find the contractors, the maintenance people, the HVAC people to be your boots on the ground no matter where it is? You don't think you can, then you're probably right. But let me tell you that there's a lot of people that have figured this out. This ends up being one of the smaller problems. Sometimes a lot of people will overhype how challenging it is to build up a team away from home that's more than 30 minutes. But truly, I see it happen every single week, property after property. And for our clients that sign up with our management services, we do it for them. They don't even have to worry about it. Number 4, cash flow. You have to make sure your expectations for what the property is going to create in terms of money is going to meet what you are actually looking for. Some people don't really care, especially when it's a second home. They go, you know what? It pretty much pays most of the mortgage. I'm happy with it. I still got to pay the utilities on top of it. I'm okay with that because it's still getting me the enjoyment of use. It's also helping with my taxes and I'm getting appreciation. Now, some of my clients are like, I want to be able to use it, but my primary focus is the investment. And for them, I ask them, what's your known annualized net that you want to make? You know, is it $2,000 a month, which is $24,000 a year? Or is it $5,000 a month, which gives you $60,000 a year? Now, most people aren't shooting that big, but we had properties that net over $50,000 a year. That's pretty exciting. And one little quick tip, no matter what, there's always to get seasonality. So it's not like every month you get X dollars. In the winter, you typically get break even, they get a little negative. But the summer, holy smoke, does it make up for the winter so big. So you gotta hold on for the summer. You gotta make sure whenever possible, you launch before summer because the money you make is insane. Quick pro tip for anybody buying on a lakefront, you typically make about 50% of your total income in the 3 to 4 months of summer as compared to the other 3 seasons of the year, which means the other 9 months is where your other 50% comes from. That's how valuable a summer season can be for a lakefront property. And number 5, this property has now become hospitality business. A product, something that you want people to buy and enjoy. Sometimes what I see is some owners start to go, oh my God, I can't have these types of people staying in this home. And sometimes that's tough. You have to be really clear with what is the goal of us renting this property. And the truth is, it can be hard. In fact, I did this with a property that we bought for brunch for our wedding up north. We were like, oh my God, this is post-COVID. And we're like, we got nowhere to put all these people for brunch because they weren't allowing parties to 20 or more. So I was like, we could just buy a house. My wife said, you're insane. We can't do that. I was like, okay, let's just go look at a couple of houses. Like, man, we don't have time to lose. Let's just never in the area. Why not? And we don't put him in an offer on this house. The buyer for $80,000. And I was like, you know what? This is insane. This is crazy, but we love that house. We love the area. It was a memory. It was special to the time of our lives, getting married post-COVID. And it gave us an opportunity to have a really special brunch. And we said, you know what? There's no real data to support this, but even if this breaks even, I think we can get to break even. So we're going to be pretty happy with this, guys. What a special house. And guess what? We've used it probably 4 times in the last 3 years. Why? Because it's always rented. And when it's rented for $2,500 a weekend, you're like, do I need to stay there? And good. And that's the funny truth about step number 5. You need to make your peace with that. And sometimes you need to get into that zone. It takes a little bit of learning and a little bit of letting go, but you can get there. And if you're willing to do that, then I think this is a really good move for you. Step 3, you got to design for experience. I'm not talking like white box builder grade type of stuff. I mean experience. Like the style that you would go, I wouldn't do my house like that. That's too much. The too much is actually what you need to do when you're doing short-term rentals. So they want an experience. They don't want to feel like they're in another hotel room or another house they've been to 100 times. They want something that's memorable. They're going to go, oh my God, check out MyBrokerMatt. And they're recording their stories and they're enjoying pictures and they're taking photos and this really special memory that they're creating with their family in that very moment. If the guest doesn't go, wow, that was special, that was unique, that was an experience, then you're missing the mark. And you have to be willing to produce that. And trust me, if you're still using us as a second home, those couple weekends you do go up there for it, you're like, we made the right call. This was a good move. This is awesome. Making us money. We have a beautiful property. We got to use it too. Step 4, you have to furnish your win. Now, budgeting for furnishing can be tough. And a lot of people don't realize this, but you can't use dinky hand-me-down stuff. You can't do like, oh, I'm going to be clever and go to Facebook Marketplace and buy used things that have burn holes and weird, uncomfortable springs in them that you're going to sell and go, it's kind of sucks. I don't know if this is worth saving the money, because it's not. I've tried that. I've tried all the things I'm telling you not to do it because I've tried them. I've been cheap. I've been hard at it. I've been dumb. And I fixed that since I'm a lot less cheap, a lot less hard-headed, and a bit more intelligent. You need comfy beds. You need good linen. You're going to need TVs likely in almost every room, every living area. Wi-Fi is not negotiable. You got to stock your kitchen. People are going to have an experience, especially if you're lakefront. Oh my God. They can't necessarily just run down to the store or the downtown and get something to eat. The guy has something they can cook with. You got to be through that refrigerator, freezer space, and all the tools that they're going to need to make Thanksgiving dinner if they want. You want cozy lighting, textures, and you want to add some plants in there. I know some people hate when you put plastic plants in there, but better than real plants that die and you have trouble maintaining. I don't know about you, but I pretty much suck at maintaining plants. Forget it. We've used Akita, Wayfair, we've been using Vanilla a lot. There's a lot of great things you can use. And everything you put into this property to improve it from the rehab to the furnishing, it's a write-off. It means you don't owe that money to Uncle Sam at the end of that year and the years beyond that. It's your own. And guess what? It's also marketing. That's right. Furnishing the right way helps improve the pictures and the quality of the stay, which is marketing. When the marketing is good, that place will get booked with top-tier nightly rates that will make you hand over fist money. Step 5, work on automating it. Get support, get staff. I recommend the Smart Lock from Schlage. I've tried a lot of other variations. Some are good, some are terrible. I think Schlage and Code specifically is probably the best lock on the market still year after year. And then when you start working with a cleaner, you need to get this app called Churn. Churn has been great, helps sync up calendars to make sure everybody's communicating together. And as these things start to come together, you start to realize, oh goodness, maybe this isn't so hard to manage. I think a lot of the real estate coaches out there, they overemphasize how hard it is to manage. Yeah, you're gonna get your butt kicked sometimes, and some of the setup sucks and it's exhausting. And as you see that money rolling in, you go, okay, this is pretty cool. But you're still gonna have your occasional day where you go, ooh, this part sucks. But you'll get past it like you've got past all your other issues in life up to this point. And also, one more thing you can automate, guest messaging. And now we're getting into AI messaging. So there's a lot of ways you don't have to be bothered or feel like this is a very heavy lift. It's really the setup and furnishing is the heaviest literal lift that you can do. And besides that, it's identifying the right property if you're buying new, or just making peace with the fact that you're sharing this with other people from now on. And the cool part is once you make enough money on this and you get over sharing with people, if you still want something better than that, you have money to go buy. Step 6, make a listing that converts. Yes, you have to spend some money on your photography. I'm not talking $300. But Airbnb, you can spend up to $1,000 or $2,000 on really great photography. Sometimes that's lifestyle photos, and then you're hiring models, just be there for them to kind of look like, oh, we're enjoying this plant, show amazing, this is great. But typically what I actually recommend as a pro is get a good static photo immediately when we go live. One of my favorite local guys, and they're good. I get a 2D map done, we get the photos, we get a little drone activity going. And why you end up spending big money in the first go? Because I already know when you're launching an Airbnb, your first quarter or two, you're learning all the little nuances about what you just did, how people are actually using it. You can make updates, changes. That's what happens in your first year. You can make those changes. And I think another thing is I want to capture different seasons. So probably 6 months later, I'm getting a new set of photos. And once I'm feeling really good about it, maybe it's at that 6-month mark, then I'm hiring the super photographer, the person that just crushes it, the person that also helps market the property by posting about it. You need to think about these things as you get deeper into it. It's not just one dimensional. We're trying to teach you the Marvel multiverse of how to think about getting into Airbnb so you can be successful. And when you make the title, you need to emphasize the guest benefit. Sometimes the seasonal benefit. If it's the middle of winter and you're like, great beach access, guess what? They don't care. But if you're in November, like people love seeing the Christmas tree, and you got a Christmas tree ready for Santa, and you got a great picture of the living room looking like it's already stocked with presents, or people can see themselves having a Christmas night book there, and waking up one like, wow, what a special event, what a special moment, what a special memory we created. That's big. And by changing the title and hopefully having captured the photo of the $150 Christmas tree you installed to create that memory of the future that somebody was about to have, that's where the value is made in the listing. Then you should set up your dynamic pricing tool. I highly recommend Price Lab Jobs. Price Lab to get an awesome for voucher monitor, all the other demand in the area, and you fluctuate within a certain range. You can set rules and all kinds of cool things. Make sure you're hitting the numbers you want, but also are being marketed away. Your Airbnb page is effectively your storefront or your product. When you put it online and you see 20 other listings in the same area, if yours is in the top 3 pick, when you go, I would say here over all the the other ones, you probably shouldn't be getting into it. And listen, there's different sizes. You have 2-bed, you have a 5-bed, you have a 10-bed. You're not going to compete with every size. That's not what it's going to do, but that's not reasonable. But yeah, but what are these special 2-bed? There's really only one other 1-2-bedroom out there. Cool. Guess what? You're probably going to win. And for the 5-beds, 5-beds, if you have 3-beds and 4-beds, more times than not, as long as the design and amenities are, and honestly, once you have 10 beds, something huge, no else hands. Just the size alone beats everybody. And you usually don't have to go as Eddie on design and amenities because you have a property that no one else can satisfy a larger group. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't still bring the heat, but I do think it's kind of a noteworthy factor. You get it up and running, once it's up and running, make some money, then you go back and you redesign it and put some more love into it so you can get even higher rates. Step 7, track and tweak. A lot of people think it's all about occupancy rate. You need 100% occupancy. No, if you have 100%, there's probably a bigger chance for leaving more money on the table and you're spending a ton more on cleaning fees. It's a balancing act because the more turnovers you have, the more cleaning, more repairs, more re-applies. It's a lot. You want to find this perfect pairing of occupancy and average daily rate ADR. And from there, that creates a RevPAR, which is just a revenue per available room. That's typically more of a hotel term, but we've seen it apply to short-term rentals as well. And if people are staying, what happens is we learn who and why people are staying. On the go. Hey, we came here from Chicago. We had a funeral. We had a birthday. We had an anniversary. We had an engagement. We just needed to get away. We needed to do laundry. And yet I had first mate. Well, Brad started calling every month just to do laundry. That's the hated your laundry. That sounds like a lot of work to me to pack up laundry, go take it to another person's house to do laundry and spend a lot of money. It's a very expensive laundromat, basically. Then you come back to your home to like unpack it. I don't know. You never know anything until you start staying. But as you watch the data about the remote, you're going to learn some things and you're going to start to understand more things about who is there and why they're there and how to keep more people like that coming. Do you like them? And that's going to help you guide on fruits. But we learned the hard way. A couple of little pro tips I want to share with you. Start furnishing earlier. Schedule delays are real. Things turning damage. It sucks. And then you have to go send it back and wait to get the replacement. Start all your big items first, medium size, and then over small things. So small things rarely are delayed or have issues. You need the big chunky things out of the way sooner. You'll be very happy about it. Don't cheap out on pillows and mattresses. People spend literally a third like in your house sleeping, so it better be comfortable, because if it's not, it's uncomfortable. A third of their experience will be uncomfortable, and it will show in those reviews. You need to also automate and start prepping for a positive lifestyle. What that means is in the gas budgeting, like their experience started when they booked the property. And right after they booked the property, you just started to do messages, making sure they're in line, making sure that everything will check in, instructions will come, and all of that. You want to make sure they had no questions about how to get in the property, no issues about what they can use, no issues about how to work anything. This should be all be in your guest guide handbook, which you can make online these days, which is what we do. And once they had that, they won't have all the intricacies, the wedding amenities. But you want to make sure that every time they think about this house, it's easy. They know they know how to turn on the jets. They know where to find the kayak and it's going to be flamed. They know if they want to use the grill, it's there. And here's how you use it. And here's what you utensils to clean it. And with all that, what you're actually doing is to prepare them to get you at 5-star. You explain to them, hey, look, we want you to have a 5-star experience. If you say coming up, then let us know if there's anything is remotely off before you check in, right after check in, the night after, because we want to make sure there is no doubt you have a 5-star experience. And anything left at any moment, I want you to let me know so I can fix it if you do. That's the kind of conversation you want to be putting out there. So at every step of the way, by the time they actually leave, there's little to no doubt they're leaving the 5-star. Because honestly, for Airbnb hosts, 4-star will kill you. And it's not got amazing say. I would totally save your game. I'll give you a 4-star. And I ask them why. Sometimes they go, well, no one's perfect. I go, do we miss anything? No, not at all. That's really frustrating for an Airbnb owner. And frankly, no one should leave a 4-star unless there's really a problem that should have been fixed, really, or there was a lack of professionalism, cleanliness, whatever those, or anything of that sort. But as long as it was overall a great stay, like you can have a hiccup, but as long as it's being addressed, or is communicated, so it can be addressed, I think a 5-star could still be really good. I say to hotels where the AC goes out or it's really low, it doesn't mean I give them a 4-star. I just go, hey, you fix this. I'm having a one-off issue with my hotel stay. I'm pretty sure the hotel is still great, but we're happy with the hotel, still leave a 5-star. That's the same thing we should be doing here. So put another way, your mistake is tuition. And I just don't want you to end up paying for the same class. I got another story for me. Some of these people are gonna say this is the luxury I just can't afford. And you're right. And honestly, for me, when I started today, because I couldn't afford another home that I wasn't living in to justify unless. Now, coincidentally, in this last week, we had 2 clients come up and say this. You think we could actually get a place that's actually nice, something we would enjoy, that won't cost us a bunch of money every month? And the answer to all of these people is absolutely. And here's how you do it. You just have to find a property that A, you like, because you're not going to buy something you don't like. B, you get run the numbers, make sure that we think that the expected gross income aligns with what our cost to hold the property will be. And part 3, we just have to agree on a plan for getting this thing up and running in no time. time, and also how much use the owner plans to have. Because if you want a second home that makes you money, but you want to stay there 90% of the time, let me tell you, the math won't work. Now, if you want to go enjoy that property for 5 to 10 weeks a year, then yeah, it still could work. So this one client said, hey, let's go for that house. It's $650,000. It's a beautiful house. It's got a pool. It's right by the lake. I want this. I think it's going to make money. We said, hey, I think it will too. Let me run some numbers. I came back to them and said, your worst case is $150,000, but there's a chance we're going to hit 220. They said, you are kidding me. And I go, I am not. I'm kidding you. Now they're fully bought, utilities and everything, and the mortgage is probably about $4,500 a month. So about $5K. And by the way, they bought it with a 10% down. So $65,000 plus closing costs. So let's just go up $75,000, which they have, and about $50,000 a year to hold the property. And they didn't want to have to feel like they had to pay $50,000 to enjoy it next year, because they just dropped $75,000 just trying to get this thing bought. So once we ran a number, they're putting it $75,000 down, buy the property. They're like, oh my goodness, like, I need to make sure this actually is going to make me money. And we ran the numbers and how much it was going to cost, almost $5,000 a month plus utilities. So we're at almost $60,000 a year for them to run the property. So the cash flow has to be greater than $60,000. So once we ran the numbers, what we were seeing was the pool and lake combo with this size house typically starts around $150,000, but there's some data. If you look at it a little differently, might peak just over $200,000. But guess what? All they really wanted it to do was make about $60,000 to $70,000, which is just over a positive thing. But once I showed them the numbers, they were like, okay, are we kidding me? I said, hey, if you think it comes in almost $100,000 less than what we're expecting, pretty much still breaking even. And you're like, buy it. And now it's being furnished as we speak and should be live next month. So now we're all looking forward to a big one. Because they do rent it from 10 days out of the whole year. Then I'm going to get a positive return. But I already know what's going to happen. If they go, hey, I want to book it this coming weekend, I go, actually, you had somebody that's thinking about booking it. It's going to be about $5,000 that you'd be missing out. They start thinking, hey, you know what? 2 more weeks of this, I'm going to head over to Europe, go to Italy, go to Spain, have a good time. And it's going to be self-funded by this property. Fun thing is you go from, I don't know if I could afford a second home, to I think I can afford 10 second homes. Okay, I have one final story for you today. Oh my God, bro. But you can't tell already, I was at a friend's party and the story saw client, friends, and real catching up, and all these people kept coming up to me saying, hey, I saw your video, saw this, blah, blah, blah. And I had a question, I had a thought, I've been wondering, and it was cool because it gave me a chance to really go, this is what my friends and family are thinking about. How can I be more helpful to them to get to where we are now? And one of those people is a good friend of mine from college, and he's recently engaged, mid-30s, and he's excited. He's really excited. Him and his fiance are awesome, love that couple, but guess what? They didn't realize. He starts up the conversation, he goes, hey, can you help me figure out how to buy a house? And I said, yeah. And then I started to realize in this moment, I'm like, I feel that I already had a house. Like, you never bought a house. You know, we're looking at just starting first house, get something going together. And we don't even know, like, really how to deal with mortgage or anything. And my partner's also thinking how we buy it so we can be an investor, because I want to be smart about these things. And I go, you can hit on all of it. And he goes, I thought I'd get to buy a house and then he would invest. It's like, because like, that's not a requirement. Did you think I would purchase? I kind of did. I said, no. And after long and hard, you know a lot that you need to know. You need to let people know that when you buy your first home, even if it is for your primary use, you can do so much more with it. And that's exactly what I did. My first home, I did something called roommate. I rented out all of them on Craigslist or wherever else I could have. Friends that I knew from college didn't really care, because part of me was like, I want to be smart. Let's save money. And my first home I bought was kind of a little oversized for a first-time home buyer, but I was like, you know what, I'll rent out the rooms. I think I'll make money on this. This will be a boot. And guess what? All but one of those people that ever rented from me ended up staying in my wedding, or at least coming to my wedding after that. I made a lot of friends from that. So I highly recommend doing a roommate for your first home, because you don't know what I did after that? I love that. Everybody was like, never sell it out that some boundaries. I turned it into a themed larval, and now it's a short-term. Let's make it even more. So that one house went from room hacking to a short-term rental. Let's be doing it off the memory, and it's built a bunch of wealth. And it's helped prove some concepts that I've always thought are possible here in Michigan. You might even say it was also a live-in flip. That's right, sometimes you'll buy a property, you'll force depreciation by improving it while you're there. You're painting, you're flooring, doing new fixtures, maybe you're doing a remodel in the bath and the kitchen, and you're living in it while you boot it for yourself. And once you're done, typically people wait about 2 or 3 years. You're not required to, but there's some benefits for capital gains taxes. But at that point, they say, hey, sell this, we're gonna flip this into our new priority. They just keep doing it. They keep snowballing this equity into one house, to the next house, to the next house. And sometimes we go, you know what? Let's snowball the dock, and they don't do the short-term rental, they don't do the long-term rental. Biz. Get opportunity, whatever you do, it's a great book. And my point here is your first property that you ever buy can 100% become a rental. If you start thinking like that today, and if you're new to buying homes and start thinking about that today and taking action on it, you are going to completely change the course of your life into the way you create wealth So here's the truth. Most people don't lose money on STRs because of the market space. They lose money because their setup, management, and marketing slop, or even worse, because all those are fixed at never even started. That's why we built our communities to really show people that these things are possible, and with the right full backing here, everything gets multiples easier. So we created STR Legend, which is a done with you community where we get support through every stage and learn how to launch your product. And our goal is to stay with you until it prints, and then if you want to keep going, and if you follow the blueprint, in the first 30 days, you're going to know what you've been investing on, you're going to understand how we use the group, and you're going to have a pre-approval. And in the second 30 days, we start ranking offers together to buy you your cash flowing property. And in the third 30 days, we want you to be closing on that property and getting it uploaded. And for the additional 3 months after that, the full 6-month period, we make sure you get it furnished and up and running and live. And once it's live for the next month or two of that program, we want to make sure you're understanding its management side and getting things dialed in. And you know what? And if you want to get more time in the community, we've got 2 ways here. And if you want to stay in the community even longer, we'll start 2 options. You do an extension. If you're really an awesome member and you executed at a high level, we're going to invite you to the Lifetime Legend program. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. And if you think you're ready to make that move, go ahead and book a call and we'll start talking to you about STR Legend and see if it's a good fit for both of us. If this gave you any confidence or clarity, it would mean a lot to me. If you just commented, hey, thanks, that was a great video, or hey, I love how porn drinking is, whatever it is. If you're pinging out or put down and you like what we're doing, we'd really appreciate a subscribe as well. I'm going to continue to make these videos and share everything I can with you guys outside of our program so you can see just how much knowledge we want to drop so you can get ahead, because you don't have to join our program to get. I want you to understand the mechanics, because I think a lot of people just do a poor job of explaining it and they just don't have the experience to really give you in-depth takes on some of these things. Hopefully this helps again. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.